You see someone who started after you making triple the money. You see the guy who came in green to your field getting promoted while you're stuck. That beginner on YouTube who in 6 months already has an audience you never achieved. And the question that eats you from inside, what does he know that I don't? The answer isn't talent. It's method. There's a Japanese operational system, distilled by someone who needed to master techniques to survive, that explains how to go from zero to reference while others stay stagnant for years. If you stay until the end, you'll understand the exact point where most people get stuck and how to unstick it today. I'll start with the error that keeps you trapped, thinking you need more information when the problem is execution. Part 1. The error that keeps you a beginner. Have you bought 3 courses in the same area and finished none? Have you changed strategy 5 times in 2 months because it wasn't working? Have you felt busy but not progressing? The pattern is always the same. Accumulate knowledge. Test everything superficially. Never truly master anything. The problem isn't lack of information. You already have too much information. The problem is you treat learning as collecting techniques when you should treat it as building fixed form. You want to vary before fixing. You want results before having foundation. You want your own method before mastering the method of those who already got there. There's a Japanese concept called Shoshin, beginner's mind. It's not about being humble. It's about understanding that when you're starting, your opinion about what works is worthless. You don't have data. You don't have enough repetitions. Your intuition is still calibrated wrong. So the move is simple. Choose a path that already worked for someone and replicate without questioning until the body automates it. When someone started combat training, the temptation was to create their own variations in the first week. Result: they lost to someone who simply repeated the basic form 300 times until it came out without thinking. The difference wasn't talent. It was that one kept testing and the other kept fixing. The painful truth: you don't need more techniques. You need to repeat one technique until it becomes reflex. Then you can vary. But while you still need to think to execute the basics, you're not ready to invent. Part 2. Minimum form. The decision you make only once. You know what the biggest thief of progress is? Daily decision. Every time you wake up and ask, will I train today? Will I study now or later? Which approach will I use? You spend energy that should go to execution. Experts don't decide every day. They decided once and turned it into structure. The Japanese call this kata, fixed form. It's not rigidity, it's decision economy. You define a minimum non-negotiable sequence and remove it from the field of choice. It becomes like brushing your teeth. No negotiation, no motivation involved. It simply happens. When the decision was made to master 2 swords instead of 1, which became the Niten Ichi Ryu style, the minimum form was clear. Every day, at dawn, 30 minutes of basic movements with both blades. Raining, sick, tired, didn't matter. The decision had already been made. The body just executed. Here's what you do today. Define your minimum form. It's not the ideal, it's the irreducible. What you can do on your worst day. For business, 15 minutes of prospecting every day at 9 a.m. For training, 3 exercises, 20 minutes, before shower. For study, 1 lesson, 30 minutes, after coffee. 3 rules. It must be specific, not study, but do 10 questions of X. It must have fixed time, not when possible, but 7:30 a.m. It must be small enough to have no excuse. You decide this once, then just execute. The common error is starting big. I'll study 3 hours a day. First week works. Second week already skips a day. Third week quits. The right way is to start ridiculously small and let consistency build. 10 minutes every day is worth more than 3 hours once a week, because 10 minutes becomes identity. 3 hours becomes an event. The minimum form solves the motivation problem. You don't need to be motivated to brush your teeth. You also won't need to be motivated to execute your form. It becomes part of the day, not a decision. Part 3, Kaizen, the invisible advantage of 1%. You've seen that compound interest graph that shows how 1% per day becomes 37 times more in a year? That's exactly how real progress works. It's not about having a brilliant insight. It's about correcting 1 millimeter every day. The Japanese have a name for this: Kaizen, continuous improvement. The idea is brutally simple. You don't need to make leaps. You need to identify the smallest correctable error now and fix it today. Tomorrow, grab the next one. In 6 months, you're not the same person. At the beginning of training with 2 swords, the grip of the wakizashi was wrong. Nothing obvious, just half a centimeter off the ideal position. But half a centimeter in 1,000 repetitions becomes chronic imbalance. The correction took 3 days of deliberate attention. Then it became automatic. Next adjustment, distance between feet. Then, breathing rhythm during the cut. Each correction seemed insignificant, but added together, they transformed an amateur movement into efficient movement. And the key insight: you can only correct what you notice. So the skill isn't executing perfectly. It's noticing where it's wrong while you execute. Here's the system. Record your execution or ask for external feedback once a week. Identify a specific error. Spend the whole week correcting only that error. Next week, next error. Seems slow. But in 3 months, you corrected 12 structural flaws. Most people spend 3 months making the same mistakes because they never stop to identify and fix. There's a trap here, wanting to fix everything at once. Doesn't work. Attention is limited resource. If you try to adjust 5 things at the same time, you fix none. Choose one, make it automatic, next. That's the difference between who improves slowly and who improves fast. Another point, feedback needs to be immediate. No use reviewing the whole month on Friday. You need a way to notice the error at the moment of execution, or right after. Recorded training, daily metric. End of session review. The interval between error and correction defines learning speed. Kaizen isn't motivational. It's operational. You take the smallest visible problem, fix it today, repeat until it becomes pattern. Next. In 1 year, you stacked 50 adjustments. Meanwhile, whoever kept waiting for the big leap is still in the same place. Part 4, Shuhari, when you earn the right to invent. Now comes the part every beginner wants to skip, knowing when you can start doing it your way. The Japanese answer is a framework called Shuhari. 3 stages. Skip 1 and you collapse. Shu means obey. You copy the exact form of someone who already masters it, without questioning, without adapting, but in my case, it's different. You repeat until the form shapes you. At this stage, your opinion doesn't matter. You don't have repertoire yet to judge what works. Ha means break. Now you've already internalized the base form. The body executes without thinking. Then you start testing conscious variations. But the difference is you break with criteria, not on impulse. You know why the rule exists before breaking it. Ri means transcend. The form and you became one thing. You don't follow the technique. You are the technique. At this point, innovation isn't rebellion. It's natural expression of mastery. Most people try to jump straight to Ri, want to create their own method in the 2nd month. Result: build on non-existent foundation. Collapse at the first pressure test. Concrete example: the decision to use 2 swords instead of 1 was made after 8 years using 1 sword only. 8 years. It wasn't beginner rebellion. It was innovation from someone who already mastered the base. The katana alone already came out without thinking. The addition of the wakizashi was expansion, not replacement. When you start something new, ask, do I already execute the basics without thinking? If the answer is no, you're in Shu. Stay there. Replicate the standard form until it becomes reflex. Can take months, can take years. Doesn't matter. Rushing this phase is the guarantee of permanent mediocrity. Signs you're ready for Ha. The basics come out automatically. You can execute while talking. You identify subtle errors in others. You get bored with the standard form. Only then start testing variations, but one at a time, and always return to base. The trap is thinking Shu is waste of time. I already know the basics. I'll go to advanced. No, you don't know the basics. You understand the basics. Knowing is when the body executes independent of the mind. Until then, you're in Shu. Part 5. Ma, the rhythm that sustains everything. There's a Japanese word that doesn't translate well. Ma. It's the space between things, the silence between notes, the breath between movements. In learning context, it's the rhythm and environment that protect your practice from collapsing. Have you started strong and burned out in 3 weeks? Everyone has. The problem wasn't lack of discipline. It was lack of Ma. You piled practice without breath, trained in chaotic environment, ignored saturation signs. The system collapsed. In the final years, during the retreat at Raigen-do, a cave in the Kumamoto region, the routine was rigid but spaced. Training in the morning, study at noon, writing in the afternoon. Between each block, interval of mental clarity. Without interval, the mind dulls. With too much interval, the form weakens. Ma is finding the point of sustainable tension. Here's what this means for you. Your minimum form needs active protection. Environment protection, fixed place, no distractions, prepared the night before. Time protection, inviolable schedule, the rest of life fits around it. Energy protection, you don't train until exhaustion. You train until productive fatigue. Stop. The common error is romanticizing exhaustion. I'll go until I can't anymore. This works once, doesn't work as system. The right way is to finish the session still with energy. You want to leave wanting more, not destroyed. This way you come back the next day, and the next, and the next. Another aspect of Ma, knowing when to stop adding. You already have the minimum form working for 2 months. The temptation is to add more. More techniques, more time, more complexity. Resist. Minimum form is to keep forever. You can add layers around it, but the core doesn't change. It's your ground. If you inflate it too much, the ground cracks. During the writing of Go-Rin no Sho, the book that synthesizes everything, it took 2 years to distill 60 years of experience into portable principles. 2 years. Because synthesis isn't rush. It's clarity built with patience. Each sentence was mentally tested in 10 different contexts before being fixed. The same patience applies to your progress. You don't need to master everything this year. You need to establish the form, protect the form, let the form transform you. Time does the heavy work. You just need to not get in the way. Ma is also knowing when you're saturated. Signs. Execution worsens even with effort. You postpone the minimum form. The mind resists before starting. When this happens, it's not lack of discipline. It's need for interval. 1 day of strategic pause is worth more than a week of bad execution. You come back sharper. The big insight. Discipline isn't brute force. It's intelligent rhythm. It's building a system that sustains itself because it respects its own limits. Here's the synthesis I promised at the beginning. Most people treat learning as information accumulation. Buy course, read book, watch video, and stay in the same place. Because information doesn't change behavior. Form changes behavior. The system is this. Take decisions out of the moment and put them in form. Define your minimum sequence, fixed time, automatic execution. The form eliminates internal negotiation. Then you apply Kaizen, one adjustment at a time, every day, until you stack dozens of corrections. Meanwhile, respect Shuhari. Copy until you master, only then invent. And protect everything with Ma, rhythm and environment that make practice sustainable. When form becomes identity, stopping ceases to be option. You don't train because you want to. You train because it's who you are. That's the turning point. And it doesn't come from motivation. It comes from structured repetition until the body takes command. Now you choose. You can keep accumulating information and in a year be in the same place. Or you can define your minimum form today. One sequence, one time, one irreducible commitment. And start building identity through repetition. The decision is yours. But understand, every day without form is a day when someone else with less talent and more method passes you. Define your form. Protect your form. Let the form transform you.